Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I'm just going to be talking about a few random things. Basically, Eccentric Soul, the Carpenters, and a few gifts that I've received lately. They are not VCLT because they are not from people within the vinyl community. But first off, when I got into music, obviously very young, with the Beatles, Monkees, all that stuff, Glenn Campbell, blah, blah, blah. But when I started investigating music on my own in my teens, which was basically the early 78 and onwards, I would seek out things from different countries, no matter what type of music it was, different parts of this country, the United States. And, I would listen to it because music from different areas had a different feel to it. So the power pop or the punk from LA was different from the power pop and punk from New York or Chicago or Texas. There was all these pockets all around the country and all around the world where they may have been playing the same style of music, but it was all very different, and it all had a very different feel to it. Some of it I really connected with, some of it I did not. But the stuff that I connected with has lasted with me till this very day, because when I love a band, when I can feel a band, when I can connect with the music that they create, I'm a fan for life. So I started applying that to different types of genres as I grew older. One of the genres was soul music. Now, soul music, when played right, and we're talking, my favorite era of soul music is basically the 60s and up through maybe the mid-70s or maybe even the late 70s. There's some great music from the 80s and onwards as well, but the stuff that I love and connect with is the stuff from the 60s and up to the mid-70s. Bands like the Delphonics, the Stylistics, the Shylights, all that great stuff. There's such a great feel to it. And in fact, I compare it a lot to the ska movement from like the late 60s in Jamaica, where it's really, really emotional. There's a lot of emotion in it, and there might be some space in there in the production. It's not overproduced, and it allows your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings to sort of flow through that music and interpret it in different ways every time you listen to it. So if you're sad, it sounds sad and it sounds empty and it sounds lonely. But when you're in a good mood, it just sounds joyous, and really that's the best kind of music. So because I love soul music from that era, there's this label called the Numero Group that was releasing all these different compilations that they filed under the Eccentric Soul series. And what they would do is they would go to these just obscure little labels in Florida or in Chicago or Detroit or all across the country. And all these labels were putting out local singles, independent singles. They were trying to have hits. Some of the hits were regional and local hits, but they never moved beyond that. Some of the artists only had one or two hits. But it's beautiful to listen to because, you can hear a lot of these artists, just fantastic songs, fantastic performances. All they needed was that next step up, better production, bigger label. There's a reason all this music is held in such high esteem now. There's a reason why the original records from these labels sell for so much on the market, Discogs and eBay and stuff. Numero Group has basically decided not to pursue the CD thing anymore. They're going to stick with vinyl and digital. So you should go to their label. It's numerogroup.com and buy whatever you can. They may still be having a sale at the time you see this. But I recommend every single one of the things that I'm going to show you right now. Now, this first one I'm going to show you is from the Eccentric Soul series. It's called Twilight's Lunar Rotation. Every band on these things are bands that maybe you haven't heard of unless you're from these areas or you're familiar with these labels. But they're so heartfelt and so wonderful that picking up any one of them is very much recommended. This one here is called the Pre-Label. Now the packaging on these is really good because it's got a slipcase, it's got a CD, and then the booklet itself has all the information and is very well annotated. This one is called the Capsule Label. Now, I'm not going to go through all the bands and stuff. I highly recommend you go to numerogroup.com and find out more information about all these releases. This one here is called the Nickel and Penny Labels, Capital City Soul, and they're some of the most passionate recordings on these things. You really have to check them out. This is called the Bandit Label. This one here is called the Cash Label. Now, I sometimes wonder, since this is so different from the others, and I wonder if this is like the promo version and they just sold their promo version because that's all they have. But whether or not this is legit or just promo packaging, I mean, it's kind of cool packaging because the booklet slips out, and then you can see the CD in there, so it's a die-cut sleeve. This one here is the Way Out label. It's a 2 CD set. Did I tell you just how fantastic? I found so many gems in here. I could fill episodes of Ski Lodge with nothing but stuff off of this, and people would just go nuts. This is the Forte label. Now, these two are really cool. When the Jackson 5 came out, everybody had to have their own Jackson 5 on their label. So labels across the country would put out these singles by these bands fronted by kids. Now, this would happen throughout the course of the 70s. Now, this one here is called Homeschooled, the ABCs of Kids Soul. And this one here is called After School Special, the 1, 2, 3s of Kids Soul. And both of them are fantastic. Just great sort of quasi-wannabe Jackson 5 stuff. Another great series on Numero Group is the Good God series, which, like Eccentric Soul, it features artists that recorded for independent labels all across the country, but it was all the gospel stuff. So this one is called A Gospel Funk Hymnal, and this one's called Apocryphal Hymns. And those are both fantastic as well. More on Numero Group, part of this whole series, is The Edge of Daybreak is the name of the group. Eyes of Love is the name of the album. And as you can see, there's a die-cut sleeve. And what this is a band made up of incarcerated inmates. Each of the members of the band were doing time in prison. I think their stretches were for, 6 to 60 years or something. And they had like a 7-hour period to record an album. So this is what came out of it. It does have those haunting moods that sort of slide between the grooves. It's really, really, really wonderful. Here's a band from Texas, the Royal Jesters, and this spans their career. I believe most of the members were Chicano or Latin American, and this sort of has a couple different styles, and it's just really wonderful. I don't know if any of this stuff got wide release, but it is just pure, wonderful, fantastic. Now, not a lot of the indie soul bands made albums, but the Four Mints did, and that's also part of Numero Group. Highly recommended. Again, all they needed was a better producer and a bigger label, and they would have been huge. So don't let the fact that they were indie soul bands from the 60s and 70s fool you. They were all very talented. Here's an oddity from the label that I had to pick up. It's Rupa Disco Jazz, and this is, I believe, came out in 1982. Is it disco? No, not really. Is it jazz? No. But it's, she's an Indian vocalist, and it's great fun. That's all I can tell you. It's so fun to listen to. So imagine Bollywood with some disco and pretend jazz thrown into it, and it's a great little find. That, again, is on Numero Group. Oh, and one more Numero Group title that I want to talk about. There's tons of titles. I have a lot of other releases from the label, but I just have to put them all in one place. But this was a great thing here. This is Syl Johnson, Complete Mythology. And let me get the full thing in there. Syl Johnson, Complete Mythology. And what this is the 4 CD version. I believe there's probably a 4 LP or 5 or 8 LP version or whatever. But within that package there, you get this great booklet full of information about Syl Johnson. And then you get this little portfolio here with the CDs and song titles and stuff right there. And that's Syl Johnson. So if you can track any of those down, I highly recommend them. Now here's a couple other things I wanted to show you. Carpenters, Musical Legacy. Fantastic brand new book. And it's just full of information about the Carpenters and their albums and their singles and recording sessions and all that fun stuff. If you take this off here, that's a beautiful little cover right there. And that's a book that I highly recommend if you are a fan of the Carpenters like me. Now let's get into some gifts that I've received. This one I just got in the mail yesterday. Very pleased to have this. Every time I go into like antique stores, I get these big baskets full of, coasters that they make out of record labels, right? Heck, you can turn it into a Christmas ornament if you put a string through it. But my friend John Borak sent me one for Split Ends Wayada, which is just an album that I've listened to death. Most of the times I see these things, they aren't albums that I listen to a lot. So John picked that up for me, and I'm very, very appreciative. Thank you, John. That's absolutely fantastic. In the mail today, somehow something will get out, either on a live stream or on Facebook, and I'll be talking to people about stuff, and I'll say, yeah, I got to pick that up or whatever. Well, one of my friends who has sent me some very wonderful things recently, and I'm very grateful for him, I don't want to call his name out, but he picked this up for me, which is the Anita Kerr biography. Anita Kerr is probably one of my top 5 favorite vocalists, female vocalists of all time. Right, in fact, with me, she's right up there with Carpenter. Her vocals are so wonderful. Now, most of the time, you know, it's under the Anita Kerr singer. She's been on more records than you can possibly imagine. Before she started making records under the name the Anita Kerr Singers or the Anita Kerr Quartet, because she's a arranger, she's a musician, she's a producer. She's just an incredible talent, completely overlooked. I know next to nothing about her, and I don't own everything on CD. I own tons of CDs, but there's so much more out there on vinyl that's never come out and stuff. So I'm always searching for new Anita Kerr stuff. And thanks to my friend, I now have her biography. And this just came out very recently. Somebody brought it to my attention on Facebook. And this is the first time I'm looking at it right now, and it's very, very exciting. So looking forward to delving into that. Now I have sort of an unboxing. My friend Ronnie Barnett came up to the area, and I met him and his girlfriend Julie for brunch, I guess you could call it. And, you know, he had some stuff for me, I had some stuff for him. And one of the things that he gave me was this little styrofoam thing here that I said that I was going to open on my Christmas special. But the Christmas special ran so long, I thought, no, I'm going to save that for another video. Now, I got this from Shaken Abe, who his song appears on my thing. His real name is Frank. I won't say his last name. But he sent this up with Ronnie. Ronnie knows what this is. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to open it now. I have not opened it yet. So I have an idea what it might be, but I don't know for sure exactly. So we're going to open this right now. I'm going to lift the box off, and I'm not even going to look at it. I'm just going to pull it out of the box. I have an idea what it might be. Oh, it's a little more than what I thought it was. Okay, here we go. You ready? It is the Kiss Army Ronnie mug, which I was hoping. There's also something else in here. There's a few things in here. Oh my gosh. It's like Kiss Army Ronnie Christmas. Let me show you. Okay, you just saw the mug. Here's a Kiss Army Ronnie pic. This is so funny. There's that, and then I'm trying to get it so you guys can see it here. It's a Kiss Army Ronnie lollipop, but I can't get you guys to see it. Can you see? I guess I can't. Yeah, there you go. I guess you can see that. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you, Frank, and thank you, Ronnie, for bringing that up. Very much appreciated. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to share all that stuff with you. I got a lot more videos coming up, and things have been pretty crazy around here since the Christmas special, and I hope that you've had a chance to watch that. Anyway, that's it for me. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and until next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.